Welcome to this edition of Croton Harmon Highlights. Central to our mission and vision of the Croton Harmon schools is that students take charge of their own learning. Now this looks very different in many classrooms, but the best way that a student can take charge of their learning is if they have a question or a burning desire to research something. What better way that if a student poses their own question to be able to, or be given the opportunity to research this. We see this in our science research program at Croton Harmon High School. Here, students in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade have the opportunity to pose a question and research that very question. So come with me and let's see students taking charge at Croton Harmon High School.
It needs to be an original project. It needs to be able to be a study or an experiment. But by and large, I really try to encourage students to come up with a topic of interest that they really genuinely care about.
And my project is called Participatory Road Anomaly Detection.
We are working together and traveling to Norway this summer, Oslo, and studying environmental attitudes, energy consumption, and acceptance of sustainable technologies.
So the title of my project was Investigating Noise Pollution Using Smartphones and Citizen Scientists.
You're really traveling in terrain that is unknown. Nobody's done whatever it is that each individual student decides to do.
So I worked with a type of tumor called a desmoid, and basically I designed a way to diagnose the tumor based on certain patients. It's very individualized, and to determine the outcome for a certain patient.
The students interacting with adults who are really working in the field, and as a result they need to be very responsible so that they can work on the same plane.
My lab treated me as a postgraduate student. It was a great experience because I learned to teach myself. You're working very individually. Yeah.
Well, one of the beauties of the science research program is the older students really do model for the younger students, and it sort of takes those older students to a higher level. And then the younger students are trying to impress the older students, but beyond that there's also just feedback that students get from one another, whether they're first, second, or third year level.
You know, people aren't going to understand your results unless they understand the project.
So what are you planning on, are you going to give them like paper surveys, or are you going to do it
We're going
online?
to distribute to 30 teenagers in each socioeconomic class in each country. That's 60 surveys in Norway, 60 surveys here in New York.
A lot of students come back to me and tell me that it helped them so much when they got to college.
I loved science research. It really helped me with studying techniques and teaching myself.
You have to keep everything organized and keep track of your own things that are going on. You don't have a teacher really looking over you and handing in homework. You kind of set your own goals.
I've used my science research project, the tools that I've developed. I've used it so many times in English class. Right now I'm doing an internship at a hedge fund, and my statistical abilities that I had to teach myself in the lab are really helping me.
I'd say that I wouldn't call it challenging. I thought it was very fulfilling, I think, to be able to explore something that I'm really interested in.
I do feel that it's important that students understand that the goal really is to be able to find a way to answer your question and to go through the process. We've had a number of students who, for one reason or another, were either unable to enter a competition or didn't get any kind of acknowledgement in a competition, but for instance are writing a paper with their mentor, which is a huge honor. I mean, that's a tremendous professional step. Other students that have been invited to work on a long-term basis with the scientist. I think that the bottom line, though, is that when the student does complete their project, they really can feel quite proud of the journey that they've taken.
It was one of the best experiences I've had. You know, I feel so rewarded by it, not just because, well, my mentor is actually using this to diagnose her patients, but just because the experience was magical.
Thank you for joining us. I look forward to seeing you at our next edition of Croton Harmon Highlights.